In this week's module, we're going to take a look at learning theories, and we're going to explore the impact of technology on learning. As we begin to think about designing our instruction this semester, we're going to be looking at three overarching components that we will focus on: the media, the message, and the methods. The media refers to the tool that we will use to deliver the content. The message is the instructional content that we are going to design to meet selected standards and objectives for a specific audience of learners. Method refers to research-based principles for design. An example of an instructional method for media design is presenting words and pictures together rather than words alone. The main purpose of designing media is communication. Message composition refers to the use of mutually understood signs, symbols, and semiotic rules. The delivery of a message is referred to as communication. The transactional model of communication describes the exchange of messages between the sender and the receiver. The sender encodes the message using a method such as speech, images, symbols, or the written word. The receiver decodes the message by listening, watching, or reading. There are two main barriers to communication: context and noise. Noise can be actual physical noise, physiological noise, or psychological noise. Social context refers to specific rules and norms present in a society that dictate appropriate interactions between people. As we begin to think about how we are going to communicate, we will be using some forms of representation. Jerome Bruner was one of the pioneers of cognitive psychology. One aspect of psychology that he explored is the development of a continuum from concrete to abstract that describes representations. So, for example, if you were teaching mathematics, at the concrete and active representation end of the continuum, you would rely on manipulatives, things that require action on the part of the learner. Iconic representations are image-based. Again, an example in mathematics would be using pictorial representations for a number of objects. So, in an elementary math book, the number 6 might be represented by 6 ducks or 6 apples, and so on. At the far end of the continuum, symbolic representations for mathematics would include the use of numerals and mathematical symbols. It's important to take into account that developmental level has an impact on the opportunity for people to interpret symbols. In the mid-20th century, Edgar Dale developed a continuum that described the most concrete experiences to the most abstract experiences. In the 60s, he added Jerome Bruner's concepts to further explain how we gain meaning from representations. To quote Edgar Dale from 1969, the word horse, H-O-R-S-E, as we write it, does not look like a horse, or sound like a horse, or feel like a horse. If you look at Dale's cone of experience, you can see that the most concrete things for learners are direct, purposeful experiences in the real world. The most abstract forms of experience are verbal symbols or the written word. It's important to take this into account as we're trying to teach, knowing that the more concrete an experience is, the more likely it is to convey meaning to the learners. Learning theories are organized sets of principles that describe how human learning takes place. Although there are many ways to describe human learning, four of the more popular theories are behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, and social learning theory. We are going to be using these theories as the basis for the design of our instructional materials this semester. Let's take a little closer look. Behaviorism is the theory that describes learning as a reaction to stimuli. It is based on the work of B.F. Skinner. The main concept is that all behavior operates on the principle of stimulus-response. All behavior can be explained based on external stimuli without the need to explore internal mental states. It uses a reward or reinforcement system. As an approach to learning, it does not address higher-level skills. An example of behaviorism is seen in computer-assisted instruction. Cognitivism was developed in response to behaviorism. Cognitivists believe that the way people think impacts behavior, and therefore there is a need to understand the mind. Learning in cognitivism is defined as a change in the learner's schemata or mental constructions. Constructivism is a theory of learning that focuses on how humans make meaning from their own experiences. Learning occurs as learners are actively involved in the learning process through meaningful experiences. The focus of constructivist learning, therefore, is real-world application of knowledge through authentic learning situations. Social learning theory was developed by Albert Bandura. It is based on the concept that most human behavior is learned observationally through modeling. Effective modeling occurs through attention, getting the learner to focus; retention, remembering what you have attended to; reproduction, reproducing what you have attended to; and motivation, having a reason to imitate what you have seen. This is just a brief overview of the theories of learning and communication that we're going to be using this semester. There are many additional resources listed in this module that will provide a much more in-depth understanding of these theories. I encourage you to look through the resources and spend some time becoming familiar with the ideas that we've just talked about.